All right, so I have a couple of different palette knives. I like to use this one. The tip on this one is too sharp, and it's not too bad on glass, but if you're trying to mix on paper, it rips it, or on canvas, it's just kind of dangerous to use with the canvas to me. This one is a little bigger for scraping or painting with, but I like to mix small piles of color. So typically I use this smallest size with a rounded tip for mixing color. I'm going to start with the darkest dark for her hair, and I'm going to just make a really, really dark. It should be black, so black has a little bit of all three colors in it. I'm going to mix up a dark purple first, and I just make a small pile until I'm pretty sure where I'm going. And what's going to happen is it's going to make a brownish color, and it just needs more blue to darken it up. I'm going to have an ivory black as a standby because I really don't want blue hair. So the more red you add to it, I don't know that you can get a true black. It's just starting to make a real purple color. So see why I advise starting with a very small amount of paint, because before you know it, you'll have a big pile of purple mixed up here. And I see some purple in a lot of areas, so we'll use that. Probably am going to squeeze out some ivory black for the darkest darks in her hair. Let's go over here and just see if we can get one that's just as dark blue as we can get it. Yeah. All right, next I'm going to start mixing some flesh tones. The basic color I see in here is a burnt sienna color, which is an orangish color. So it just makes sense to me to mix up the orange first. And a reminder to start with your lightest color, which I did not do. There we go. I had a little bit of blue left on my brush. All right, so there's a dark orange. And if you hold that up, it's kind of hard to see, and my lighting is not good today. It's kind of hard to see. But I'm going to mix a little blue with it to get a burnt sienna color. That was a lot of blue. But that's where I'm going. That's getting us really close to a burnt sienna color. Now, if I mix some white with that, let's see what happens. A lot of times you can tell more about the color when you mix white with it. Yeah, so I see that all throughout her face. I see an area that has more yellow in it. So let's go ahead, just with what's left over on my brush or on my palette knife, and add a little bit more yellow to it. Now, when your yellow feels too bright, you can always put a speck of purple in it to dull it down or gray it down. But I'm pretty pleased with these colors so far. I think it's going to cover a lot. There's purples in her neck, purples along, definitely kind of a purplish color in her lips. We'll add a little bit more red to get that lip color. Let's go ahead and do that now. Hard to tell. You don't really see that. You do see that down here on her hands, this purplish. So purple goes either reddish or bluish. There we go. There's some nice lip color right there. Also see some of that in her arm and hand down here. And if we add a little white over here, oh, that's really blue. Let's get some of this. So you can brush mix, going either redder or bluer with the lavender colors, because you see that all in her hair. These darkest darks are going to be ivory black with either purple, or you're going to see some really bright burnt sienna color up here. So let's mix some of that. That's a little bit redder. Now, the background color, I'm going to say, is just going to be this yellow, ochre or Naples yellow color with more white added to it. And I'm just going to drag some of that over the color that I already have on that background. The gray color here, I'm going to mix up a green here next for her dress. Mostly yellow. Yep, and that's exactly what we want right there. Maybe a darker version of it. More yellow lightens it. And on this shadow color, you could mix some of the purple and green. And I think that will make a nice shadow color for behind her head. Let's see. That's the wrong value, of course. There we go. So that's making kind of a grayed down color. So when I start painting this, you need to make sure you have good lighting, because my lighting is not good. It's late in the afternoon. Yep. So that's going to be a good palette to go with. Again, it's all mixed from ultramarine, cad red, and cad yellow. And I think we can get just about everything we need out of these colors. Mix up a little bit more of this yellow. I don't want to go too yellow with it, but we can have an area that's pretty bright yellow. And then put a speck of purple in it. Ooh, not that much. Boy, it doesn't take much purple. There we go. If it gets too greenish on you, then just simply add a speck of red. That'll tone it down. There we go. Okay.